Imagine a life where your every step feels light, unburdened by the weight of judgment or the constant hum of expectations. Picture yourself moving through each day with clarity, where no opinion or criticism shakes your confidence. A life where your decisions are guided not by fear, but by a deep sense of knowing who you are and what truly matters to you. Imagine waking up each morning to the unshakable calm of inner peace, a peace that no chaos, rejection, or external noise can disturb. Does this sound too good to be true? In today's world, with endless distractions, relentless social comparisons, and the ever-present pressure to meet others' expectations, it might feel like a distant dream. But here's the truth: this dream is within your reach. You don't need to wait for the world to change. The key lies in you. You hold the power to create a life where your happiness is no longer tied to the fleeting opinions of others. A life where your true self shines unapologetically, free from the need to seek external approval. This kind of freedom isn't about isolation or detachment. It's about connection. A connection with your inner self that becomes so strong, so deeply rooted, that no storm can uproot it. This is the wisdom of the Buddha, timeless teachings that guide us to rise above the noise, discover our authenticity, and live fully in the present moment. These teachings, though ancient, are astonishingly relevant to modern life, offering practical steps to transform your relationship with yourself and the world around you. Today, we're embarking on a journey that could change everything. Together, we'll uncover the secrets to reclaiming your power and unlocking the treasure of inner peace. Through stories, practical steps, and profound insights rooted in Buddhist wisdom, you'll learn not just how to navigate life's challenges, but how to turn them into stepping stones for growth. This isn't just another talk about self-help. It's a revelation of how to rise above the pressures that have held you back for so long. How to stop fearing rejection, embrace your solitude, and live authentically. How to break free from the cycle of seeking validation and instead build a life that feels true, joyful, and deeply fulfilling. If you've ever felt the weight of others' expectations crushing your spirit or the sting of self-doubt holding you back, this is your moment. Watch until the end, because what you'll discover today isn't just a series of lessons. It's a blueprint for living a life where you are fully and unapologetically yourself. The life you've always been capable of, but perhaps never dared to imagine. Stay with us. Let the teachings of the Buddha guide you to a place of unshakable peace, and let this journey inspire you to reclaim the power that has always been yours. This is more than a video. It's an invitation to change the way you live, forever. Finding freedom within. The heart of Buddhist wisdom. Imagine a life where your happiness is unshaken by the chaos of the world. A life where the opinions, judgments, and expectations of others no longer have the power to determine your mood or self-worth. Buddhism offers us this possibility, teaching that true happiness doesn't depend on external circumstances or fleeting approval. Instead, it is a state of being cultivated within, nurtured by self-awareness and mindful living. This wisdom may sound simple, but it holds a transformative power that can reshape how you experience life. It invites us to shift our focus from chasing happiness in the world outside to discovering it within ourselves. The Buddha's timeless words remind us, peace comes from within. Do not seek it without. These words, though deceptively straightforward, carry a profound challenge: to turn inward and take responsibility for our own peace. But how do we embody this wisdom when the world constantly pulls our attention outward? When we are surrounded by noise, comparison, and the temptation to seek validation from others, how do we anchor ourselves in the calm and contentment that can only be found within? The journey begins with a shift in perspective. Instead of seeing happiness as something to be earned through achievements, relationships, or material success, Buddhism asks us to recognize that joy is our natural state. It is not something we find. It is something we uncover, hidden beneath layers of distraction and attachment. Picture this. You're walking through a forest, searching for a rare and beautiful flower you've heard about. You spend hours looking, growing more and more frustrated as you wander in circles. Finally, exhausted, you stop and sit down. It's in this moment of stillness that you look closely at the ground beneath you and realized the flower was there all along. This is the essence of Buddhist wisdom, learning to pause, to look inward, and to realize that the happiness you've been searching for has always been within you. This realization isn't just a comforting thought. It's a call to action. Cultivating inner peace requires intention and practice. It means embracing self-awareness, observing your thoughts without judgment, and letting go of the constant need for external approval. It's about learning to sit with discomfort, to breathe through challenges, and to trust that your inner world holds everything you need to face the outer one. For many, this path begins with mindfulness. Through practices like meditation, we learn to quiet the mind and connect with the present moment. We begin to notice how often our happiness is tied to external things, whether it's a compliment, a goal achieved, or even the weather. And in noticing, we gain the power to change. Living this wisdom doesn't mean ignoring the world around us. It means engaging with it from a place of strength and clarity, no longer swayed by the ups and downs of life. When we cultivate happiness from within, we find that external circumstances lose their grip on us. We become like a mountain, steady and unmovable, no matter how fierce the storm. So ask yourself, where are you seeking your happiness? And what would it feel like to stop searching and start discovering the peace already within you? This journey inward is not always easy, but it is the most rewarding path you can take, a path to freedom, resilience, and unshakable joy. A story of self-reliance, the lotus in the pond. Imagine a serene pond, its surface dark and muddy, seemingly inhospitable to life. Yet in this murky water, a lotus flower blooms in radiant beauty. Its delicate petals remain untouched by the dirt around it, standing as a symbol of resilience and purity. The secret of the lotus lies not in the cleanliness of its environment, but in the strength of its roots, deeply anchored in the nourishing soil beneath. From this foundation, it draws everything it needs to thrive, unaffected by the challenges of its surroundings. This image offers a profound lesson. Like the lotus, we too must cultivate self-reliance. Our happiness, our sense of worth, cannot depend on external circumstances or the fleeting approval of others. Instead, it must come from within, a quiet confidence rooted in the understanding of who we are and the acceptance of our own unique path. Consider the story of Aditi, a young professional navigating the competitive world of corporate life. Aditi had always been a high achiever, earning praise from her colleagues and friends for her hard work and dedication. Each compliment was like a drop of water in a parched desert, giving her a brief sense of validation. But when the praise stopped, Aditi found herself feeling hollow and uncertain. The approval of others had become her anchor, and without it, she felt adrift. One day, while browsing through a bookstore, she came across a Buddhist text that spoke about the dangers of seeking happiness outside oneself. A particular passage resonated deeply. True joy is not found in the eyes of others, but in the depths of your own being. That evening, Aditi sat down and reflected on her life. She realized how much power she had given away to others, allowing their opinions to dictate her mood, her confidence, and even her sense of self-worth. Determined to change, Aditi began a journey inward. She started with small but meaningful practices, a few minutes of meditation each morning to center herself, a gratitude journal where she listed things she appreciated about her life and herself, and moments of quiet reflection to understand her thoughts and feelings. At first, the process felt uncomfortable. After all, she had spent years looking outward for affirmation. But slowly, something began to shift. As the weeks turned into months, Aditi noticed a quiet confidence taking root within her. She no longer felt the desperate need for compliments or validation. Whether or not her efforts were acknowledged, she found satisfaction in knowing she had done her best. Like the lotus in the muddy pond, Aditi began to bloom from within. Her transformation was not about shutting out the world or rejecting others' opinions, but about reclaiming her power. She realized that external validation, while pleasant, was fleeting and unreliable. By anchoring her sense of worth in herself, she built a foundation of self-reliance that no external criticism or neglect could shake. The story of Aditi mirrors the journey we all must take. Life will always have its muddy waters, challenges, judgments, and disappointments, but we have the choice to rise above them. Like the lotus, we can remain untouched by the chaos around us, drawing strength from the rich soil of self-awareness and inner peace. So ask yourself, where is your happiness rooted? Are you anchored in the shifting tides of others' opinions, or have you planted your roots firmly in the soil of your own strength? The lotus reminds us that the path to true resilience begins within, and when we nurture that inner strength, we too can bloom in even the murkiest of waters. The power of solitude, embracing your own company. In a world that constantly celebrates hustle and connection, where being busy is worn as a badge of honor and silence is often filled with endless notifications, the idea of solitude might seem unsettling or even taboo. Yet hidden within the stillness of solitude lies an extraordinary power, a chance to rediscover yourself, to hear the quiet wisdom of your heart, and to find strength that no external company can provide. Solitude, as the Buddha taught, is not a withdrawal from life, but a gateway to understanding it more deeply. The Buddha's words, meditate, live purely, be quiet, do your work with mastery, remind us that moments of quiet reflection are essential to a balanced and meaningful life. These words aren't just an instruction, they are an invitation to step away from the noise and chaos of the world and embrace the sacredness of our own presence. Let's explore the story of Dhruv, a young professional caught in the whirlwind of modern life. Dhruv was always surrounded by people. Whether it was his co-workers, friends, or family, there was hardly a moment when he wasn't engaged in conversation, attending social gatherings, or scrolling through endless social media feeds. He prided himself on being connected, but often found himself feeling drained, unfocused, and strangely lonely despite being surrounded by others. One evening, after a particularly exhausting day, Dhruv came across a passage about solitude in a Buddhist text. It spoke about the importance of turning inward, of making space for self-reflection to gain clarity and peace. Intrigued yet skeptical, Dhruv decided to experiment. He set aside one evening a week to be alone. At first, the silence felt deafening. Without the distractions of his phone or the buzz of social interaction, Dhruv confronted an unfamiliar and somewhat uncomfortable truth. He barely knew how to sit with himself, but he persevered. He lit a candle, breathed deeply, and simply allowed himself to exist in the quiet. Over time, those evenings became his sanctuary. In the stillness, Dhruv discovered the power of solitude. Without the noise of others' opinions or the constant influx of information, his mind began to clear. He started noticing patterns in his thoughts, uncovering what truly mattered to him. Decisions that once seemed overwhelming became simpler, guided by a newfound clarity. Solitude, he realized, was not loneliness. It was liberation. Through solitude, Dhruv learned to be his own best companion. He no longer felt the need to constantly seek validation or distraction from others. Instead, he found strength in his own presence, a quiet, steady confidence that carried over into all areas of his life. This is the gift of solitude. It teaches us that we are enough, that we do not need external noise to fill our inner gaps. It allows us to recharge, to connect with our inner selves, and to grow in ways that constant busyness cannot offer. When we embrace solitude, we create space for transformation. In the stillness, we learn to listen to our intuition, to heal from within, and to face life's challenges with renewed strength. Solitude is not an escape from life. It is a powerful practice that prepares us to engage with life more fully and authentically. So the next time you find yourself overwhelmed by the demands of the world, remember the story of Dhruv. Take a moment or an evening to turn off the noise, sit with yourself, and embrace the profound peace of your own company. In solitude, you'll find not emptiness, but an endless well of strength, clarity, and self-discovery waiting for you to tap into. Letting go of external approval. A path to authenticity. Imagine being free from the constant need to please others. A life where your self-worth isn't tied to how others perceive you. This freedom, though elusive for many, is one of the most transformative gifts Buddhism offers. It teaches us that true confidence and happiness come not from external validation, but from self-acceptance. As the Buddha profoundly stated, you yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection. Take a moment to let those words sink in. When was the last time you genuinely offered yourself the love and kindness you so freely give to others? How often have you allowed someone else's opinion to dictate how you feel about yourself? For many, the answer is far too often. The need for approval is a powerful force. It drives us to seek praise, to fit into molds, and to suppress parts of ourselves to gain acceptance. But in doing so, we tether our happiness to something beyond our control, the unpredictable and ever-changing judgments of others. This cycle not only drains our energy, but also keeps us from living authentically. Consider Maya's story. Maya was a talented artist with a gift for capturing emotions on canvas, yet for years she hesitated to share her work. She feared criticism, worrying that her art might not be good enough in the eyes of others. Her self-doubt kept her creativity locked away, hidden from the world. One day, encouraged by a close friend, Maya stumbled upon a Buddhist teaching about self-compassion. The teaching reminded her that her worth wasn't tied to others' opinions. Inspired, Maya decided to shift her perspective. Instead of creating art to please others, she began painting for the sheer joy of expression. She poured her soul onto the canvas, not worrying about how her work would be received. When she finally shared her paintings, something surprising happened. People resonated deeply with her work, not because it was tailored to their tastes, but because it was authentic. Maya's art, born from her heart rather than the desire for approval, spoke to others in a way that perfection never could. By letting go of the need for validation, she discovered not only her artistic voice, but also a profound sense of inner freedom. Maya's story is a reminder that when we stop seeking approval from others, we create space to love ourselves more fully. This self-love, in turn, allows us to live with authenticity. When we let go of the fear of judgment, we unlock the courage to be our true selves, unapologetically and without compromise. Letting go of external approval doesn't mean disregarding others' opinions entirely. It means recognizing that while feedback can be valuable, it should not define our worth. True confidence comes from within, from embracing our imperfections and celebrating our uniqueness. Imagine how much lighter life would feel if you no longer carried the burden of seeking validation. Imagine the energy you'd reclaim, the passions you'd pursue, and the joy you'd experience simply by being yourself. This is the path to authenticity, a life where your worth isn't borrowed from others, but rooted firmly in your own self-love. So take that first step today. Reflect on how much of your energy is spent chasing approval, and consider what might change if you redirected that energy inward. As you begin this journey, you'll find that the more you embrace your true self, the less you need the world's approval, and the more deeply you'll connect with the joy of simply being you. Rejection as a teacher, transforming pain into growth. Rejection. The very word stings, doesn't it? It's that sharp pang in your chest when you hear no, or when something you long for slips out of reach. Yet what if rejection wasn't the end of the road, but a hidden doorway to something greater? Buddhism offers us a profound perspective on rejection. It is not a failure, but a redirection, a gentle nudge from life steering us towards something better, aligned with our true path. As the Buddha wisely taught, in the end, only three things matter: how much you loved, how gently you lived, and how gracefully you let go of things not meant for you. To many, rejection feels like a blow to their worth. It's easy to internalize it as a personal failing, a sign that we're not good enough. But Buddhism invites us to see rejection differently, not as an indictment of our value, but as a necessary experience for growth and self-discovery. Rejection can be painful, yes, but within that pain lies the seed of transformation. Take the story of Kunal, for example. Kunal was a driven young man with his heart set on a prestigious job he believed was his dream. When he wasn't selected, the rejection felt devastating. For weeks, he wrestled with feelings of inadequacy, replaying the situation in his mind and wondering where he had gone wrong. But as the initial sting subsided, Kunal began to reflect. He realized that the job, while appealing on the surface, didn't align with his deeper values and passions. In the quiet of his thoughts, a long-forgotten dream resurfaced: teaching. As a child, he had always loved helping others learn, but he had buried that dream under societal expectations and the lure of a high-paying career. With nothing to lose, Kunal decided to explore this forgotten passion. He began volunteering as a tutor, and eventually pursued a teaching certification. Today, Kunal is a beloved teacher who finds immense joy and fulfillment in guiding young minds. What initially felt like a heartbreaking rejection turned out to be the best thing that ever happened to him, a redirection to a life that brought him genuine happiness. Kunal's story is not unique. Life often uses rejection as a way to clear our path of things that are not meant for us, creating space for opportunities that align more deeply with who we are. But for this transformation to occur, we must meet rejection with grace. We must resist the urge to cling to what's lost and instead trust that life has a greater plan in store. This doesn't mean the pain of rejection disappears overnight. It's natural to feel hurt or disappointed when we face setbacks. But Buddhism teaches us to hold that pain with compassion, to accept it as a part of life's impermanence, and to let it guide us forward rather than hold us back. Rejection challenges us to grow. It pushes us to reflect on our desires, clarify our goals, and strengthen our resilience. When we approach rejection with openness and trust, we begin to see it not as a roadblock but as a stepping stone, a necessary part of our journey towards something better. So the next time you face rejection, pause and take a deep breath. Ask yourself, what lesson is this teaching me? What new doors might this setback be opening? When you can meet rejection with curiosity and grace, you'll find that its sting begins to fade, replaced by the quiet strength of knowing you're being guided to something greater. The wisdom of letting go. Letting go. The phrase carries a sense of liberation, yet for many of us it feels like an impossible task. Whether it's the fear of judgment, the sting of rejection, or the crushing pressure to meet others' expectations, we cling tightly to these burdens as if letting them go would mean losing a piece of ourselves. But Buddhism teaches us that true freedom lies not in holding on, but in releasing. Letting go is not about giving up or withdrawing from life. It's about freeing yourself from the unnecessary weight that prevents you from moving forward. As the Buddha said, rule your mind or it will rule you. This wisdom reminds us that the chains we feel are often self-imposed, forged by our own thoughts and attachments. When we let go, we reclaim our power, finding peace and clarity amid life's chaos. Consider the story of Arjun, a young man burdened by the need for perfection. He spent countless hours obsessing over his work, driven by the fear of criticism. Even the smallest mistake felt like a failure, and his anxiety began to consume him. One day, while scrolling through a bookshop, Arjun stumbled upon a Buddhist teaching. Pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. This simple yet profound statement planted a seed in his mind. Arjun began to reflect on his struggles. He realized that while he couldn't control others' opinions or avoid every mistake, he could control how he responded to them. Slowly, he started practicing the art of letting go, releasing his attachment to perfection and embracing the idea that flaws were a natural part of life. At first, it wasn't easy. Each time a critical thought arose, Arjun had to remind himself that his worth wasn't tied to external validation. He began meditating to calm his mind and journaling to understand his fears. Over time, something remarkable happened. The heavy weight he had carried for years began to lift. By letting go of his need for perfection, Arjun found a sense of lightness he had never known. This is the power of letting go. It's not a one-time decision, but a practice, a daily commitment to release what no longer serves you. It might be the fear of judgment, the bitterness of past hurts, or the relentless drive to please everyone around you. Whatever it is, letting go creates space for healing, growth, and peace. Buddhism encourages us to focus on what we can control, our thoughts, actions, and reactions. Instead of being swept away by life's uncertainties, we can anchor ourselves in the present moment. Imagine holding a clenched fist, gripping tightly to something painful. The harder you hold on, the more it hurts. But the moment you open your hand and let go, the pain begins to subside. Letting go is an act of courage. It means trusting that even without the things we cling to, we will be okay. Stronger even. It's about releasing the illusion of control over external events and embracing the freedom to master your own mind. So ask yourself, what are you holding on to that no longer serves you? Is it a past regret, a fear of the future, or a need for approval? Whatever it is, take a deep breath and imagine letting it go. With each breath, you reclaim a little more of your power and with it, the peace and clarity to live fully in the present. This is the wisdom of letting go, a path to freedom, resilience, and unshakable inner peace. Lessons to carry forward. In the journey of life, wisdom often emerges from the simplest yet most profound truths. Buddhism offers us timeless lessons that, when embraced, have the power to transform how we see ourselves and the world around us. These lessons are not abstract ideas. They are practical guides for living with greater freedom, peace, and fulfillment. Let's delve deeper into these essential teachings and uncover their profound impact. Self-reliance. Cultivate joy and confidence from within. Imagine a lotus flower blooming in the muck and mire of a pond. It does not depend on the purity of its surroundings to thrive. Its strength lies in its roots, anchored deep in the soil. Like the lotus, we must cultivate self-reliance, drawing our joy and confidence not from external circumstances, but from within. This doesn't mean shutting ourselves off from the world, but rather recognizing that true happiness isn't something others can give us. It's a state we nurture by connecting to our inner selves. When we stop looking outward for validation and start building a foundation of self-acceptance, we become unshakable, blooming beautifully no matter what challenges surround us. Embrace solitude. Deepen your connection with yourself. In the stillness of solitude, we find clarity. In a world that glorifies busyness, taking moments to be alone might feel indulgent or even uncomfortable. Yet solitude isn't isolation. It's an opportunity to reconnect with yourself. In these quiet moments, we learn to listen to our inner voice, the one drowned out by the noise of daily life. We gain insight into our desires, fears, and dreams. By embracing solitude, we cultivate inner strength and clarity, becoming our own best companions. Solitude teaches us that we are enough, and from this realization comes a profound sense of peace. Authenticity. Let go of the need for approval. How much of your life is spent seeking the approval of others? The fear of judgment often keeps us from living authentically, leading us to mold ourselves to fit into others' expectations. But the truth is, no one's opinion can define your worth. Authenticity begins with self-acceptance. It's about embracing your uniqueness and letting go of the need for external validation. When you stop chasing others' approval and start honoring your true self, you unlock a sense of freedom that is both empowering and deeply fulfilling. Transform rejection. See setbacks as redirections. Rejection can feel like a closed door, but in truth, it's often a doorway to something better. Life's setbacks aren't punishments. They're redirections, guiding us toward paths more aligned with our true selves. Instead of viewing rejection as a failure, see it as an opportunity to grow, to reflect, and to realign. Every no you encounter is a chance to rediscover your strengths and explore new opportunities that might have otherwise remained hidden. Focus on your path. Release the urge to compare. Comparison is a thief of joy. Each of us walks a unique journey shaped by our experiences, values, and dreams. When we constantly measure ourselves against others, we lose sight of our own progress and purpose. Instead, focus on your path. Celebrate your victories, no matter how small, and honor your growth. Your journey is yours alone, and its beauty lies in its individuality. Moving forward with intention. These lessons, self-reliance, solitude, authenticity, resilience, and individuality, are more than concepts. They are keys to a life of deeper meaning and unshakable peace. Carry them forward, practice them daily, and watch as they transform not just how you navigate challenges, but how you embrace the beauty of life itself. As you continue your journey, remember this: the power to create a life of joy and fulfillment is already within you. Trust in it, nurture it, and let it guide you toward the freedom and peace you deserve. Reflect on your life. Are you truly living authentically? Pause for a moment and look inward. Reflect on your life as it stands today. Are you living in alignment with your true self, or are you caught in the exhausting cycle of chasing others' expectations? Are your choices guided by your deepest values and desires, or have you molded your life to fit the roles others have assigned to you? These are not easy questions, but they are among the most important ones you can ask yourself. Living authentically is not a luxury, it's a necessity for true happiness and peace. Yet so many of us find ourselves trapped in the pursuit of validation, fearing the judgment of others or the disappointment of not meeting societal standards. We wear masks, hide parts of ourselves, and compromise our dreams just to avoid rejection or criticism. But the truth is, this pursuit leads only to exhaustion and a sense of emptiness. Now imagine a different reality. Imagine living a life where your decisions are rooted in your own values, not in what others expect of you. A life where you wake up each morning feeling free, unburdened by the need to prove yourself to anyone. A life where you embrace your quirks, passions, and imperfections fully, knowing that they are what make you unique. This is the power of authenticity. It liberates you to live boldly and without apology. Sharing your journey toward authenticity can be a transformative act. When you open up about your struggles, your triumphs, and even your fears, you inspire others to do the same. Vulnerability is not a weakness. It is a bridge that connects us to one another. By sharing your thoughts, stories, or questions in the comments, you contribute to a community where authenticity is celebrated, not hidden. Together, we can create a space where everyone feels safe to explore their true selves. Imagine the impact of such a community, a place where people uplift one another, share wisdom, and encourage bold, fearless living. Your voice, your experiences, and your reflections are invaluable to this collective journey. Whether you've already taken steps toward living authentically or are just beginning to question the life you've built, your story matters. And remember this, the power to live authentically doesn't come from the world around you. It comes from within. True power lies in recognizing that you are enough just as you are, without the approval or permission of anyone else. When you embrace this truth, you unlock a life of unshakable peace and boundless freedom. A life where you can walk your own path with confidence and joy. So I invite you to take this moment to reflect. Are you living authentically? Are you pursuing the life you truly desire? Or are you still bound by the expectations of others? Share your thoughts, because your journey could be the spark that inspires someone else to take that first step toward freedom. Remember, the journey to authenticity is not about perfection, it's about progress. It's about learning, growing, and embracing the beautiful, imperfect self that lies at your core. True power lies within you. Claim it, nurture it, and let it guide you toward a life that is fully, unapologetically your own.